Hello, hello, my beautiful darlings. How are you all doing on this glorious Monday? I'm so glad you all could be here. I'm so glad you all could join me for this special chat that I'm going to have with one of my favorite guests that I like having on so far on this channel. And I'm actually grateful that they can always make time to pop up and have a little chat with me here. But I think we should forget about the whole pumpkin picking thing right now and get back to what Meghan doesn't want us to talk about, and that is all of the staff that she has lost from the UK, now in the USA. This woman is a trollop and a menace, and the best person to speak to about all of that is my favorite Enty lawyer who is joining me today. Thank you, Enty, for being here.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks for having me. We're not going to talk about the pumpkins. I thought we were going to talk about the pumpkins.
Okay. Maybe we'll just touch base on the pumpkins and then we'll get into, I don't know, man, this whole pumpkin thing that they did, this little outing with Marcus and Doria. It's just, it comes across as weird to me. Okay. It's just very strange to me. Let me just grab an image here. Here we go.
There you go.
All by them lonesomes. All by them lonesome, no children, made sure they had the place to themselves so that Meghan can have her photo shoot. I mean, guys, I don't know about you, but being a mom has changed me in ways that if I'm dressing up, my child will be dressed up as well too. I don't know, like seeing Meghan Markle in thousands of dollars worth of clothing, $1,000 boots on, and California of all places, looks silly when you've got your children running around in short sleeve shirts. If these are her children, you're not even engaging with them picking pumpkins or anything. And then you got little Betty here still in her pajamas.
Scroll back up for a second. Okay, one more where they're holding hands. Look how far apart they are for holding hands. It's like, oh, you guys need to hold hands. Well, we're 6 feet apart. It's like it's like it's COVID again.
Yeah.
So that's it, kind of strange. And you can see the gas station in the background too, which is chef's kiss there. It's interesting to me because there's a lot of pumpkin patches. Look, in Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, there's a lot of pumpkin patches, you guys. It's a crazy number because it's so much farmland, and so these people will set aside like an acre or two to grow pumpkins, and you'll see them growing them all summer, and then in the fall for pumpkin, they'll have that, and depending on how big it is, then they'll also maybe have like a tractor ride or whatever to get to the back of the pumpkins and stuff. But it's not dissimilar. There used to be a place in LA which Meghan would have loved on Doheny, and it's where the Four Seasons is, but now there's an apartment building, but it was on that street, and it was just like this celebrity pumpkin patch, and the only thing that it was just nonstop celebrity, and it was exactly for this, for photo ops, to show how much they care about their kids and how much they're a loving family, that kind of thing. I'm kind of surprised. This looks like Lane Farms in Santa Barbara, but there's a better place to go if you really want like your kids or whatever. There's a place called Underwood Farms. It's only like about 30 minutes away. And that's where everybody goes, because it's got hay rides, it's got a petting zoo, it's got all this kind of stuff, but they wouldn't close it down for them. That's the thing. Yes.
Underwood looks a lot better here. Like, look at this. Like they've got hay rides. Look, they've got it here. A corn maze, a chicken show, a pumpkin patch. You can enter to pick your own field. There are photos. There's a pumpkin house. There's a labyrinth. There's tractor displays, like there is so much to do. Play equipment for children. And then
pig races, all this kind of stuff. And it's only like a 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they wouldn't be able to shut that down for themselves.
But still, like, why wouldn't you want, like, I don't understand this whole isolation thing. Like, it just creeps me out. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what to think about this. It's just weird to me how these children never interact with anyone. They don't even interact with each other, too. Have you noticed that? You always see them, they're always running around by themselves.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. I like that somebody said, why did she not grow pumpkins in her own garden? That would be so her. Here, I grew my own pumpkins, and now we're going to make pumpkin pie. And you didn't even mention the fact that Harry was going up through the butt of the pumpkin, right?
Oh, I was getting there. I was getting there, okay? That was the buildup, okay? I had to, you know me. You know me. I couldn't let that go when I saw Harry fisting the rear of a pumpkin because I've never seen someone empty out the pumpkin from the ass end. It's always been from the top, right?
I would not even be. Why would you do? I've never ever seen that in a million years. Maybe somebody. I actually asked that today on my website on your turn. I said, do you go in from the top or from the bottom? And I'm anxious to see it. I mean, I just posted it like an hour ago, so I'm anxious to see if anybody else goes up the butt.
I don't know about you. I've never taken it up the butt with a pumpkin before, but clearly Harry has. And I'm just saying that a couple that fists and fingers together stays together because Meghan sure likes fisting her chickens too.
I just, how do you like, okay, because if you're carving it, right? Let's say you're carving it, but you need to sometimes like punch out the eyes and all that kind of stuff. And it's just easier if you can go through the very big top hole rather than, you know, trying to do it up the butt. I don't understand. It just seems much more difficult. Well, then there's Harry's butt.
It's Harry's thing. It's Harry's thing. I think that is why Marcus is around all the time. That's what I've got to say. But you all know, remember, Harry was the idiot who failed at art. Remember, his teacher had to cheat for him. So I get it. He doesn't even know how to carve a pumpkin properly. He had to stencil in triangles.
Yeah, wouldn't it also collapse? Like, because, you know, it starts rotting or whatever, so then it would just collapse that much faster.
It definitely would. And I find it interesting that why aren't the children carving the pumpkins? Why is it just the adults? Oh dear, let me turn off this.
That's also, you know, that's something that the kids want to do, right?
Yeah.
Is to carve the pumpkins and stuff. And so you're saying, no, we're just going to do it ourselves. Maybe, I don't know, the kids.
Look at that.
The contract didn't allow for them to be on camera for pumpkin carving. I don't know. He's really good at digging up that butt, though.
He sure is. He's got a whole, he's got it down pat. He's scraping and I bet you him and Diddy would be close friends.
Well, we do have pictures of them together.
Oh, we sure do. Okay, we're going completely left here. Yeah, and of course there was an image of Doria in there, but a part of me, honestly, when I was looking at these, I don't believe that these are say recent from this year, because we know that Meghan likes to hold on to photos, right?
True.
And then release them at later times. And the reason why I say this is because I saw a photo of Doria with Oprah not too long ago. And Doria looks like she's packed on the pounds, but she looks slimmer here, which is why I don't think this is like a recent photo. Or
what was her hairstyle when she was with Oprah?
It was the same, but it was grayer. Let me pull up the image. Let me pull up the image here. I have it in my bookmarks somewhere.
See, it's also so hard to tell because it's always gray on the coast. So it's like you can't ever tell what time of year it is or anything like that because it's always gray.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I saw the photos, even though there's a gas station, I don't know, there's just something about the Santa Barbara coastline, the Central Coast, that you look at those specific kind of palm trees and everything. Oh, that's Santa Barbara. I don't know. It's just something that automatically just comes to you. So, but this, I don't know. I don't know when it was taken. It does. I mean, that looks like a coffee cup. So I'm guessing this is the morning. Mm-hmm. But it's really impossible. Why does every single photo have to be taken from behind?
Yeah. And barefoot too.
No, but I don't understand. Look, you're trying to show your mom, right? Yeah. Carving a pumpkin. You can't even see that she's carving the pumpkin at all.
Well, you don't want to see that she's carving the dollar sign into it, right? That's her thing.
I just, mom is like, she gets her photo taken with Oprah. So I guess I don't understand why there's never a forward facing photo. Okay, well, like Harry and Meghan in the pumpkin patch, right? When they're holding hands and stuff. Oh, she does look older in this photo.
What if it's done from behind because it's not actually Doria and it's just a stand-in?
I mean, Doria. It could be. When Harry and Meghan are holding hands, I don't. Is it just something as she goes, oh, needs to be pictures from behind? Mm-hmm. Why can't you have a photo, your kids playing in the background, and you're just like posing for the camera? Why does it have to be always like, it's obviously like a setup job? Look, we're doting parents watching our kid play. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. And so we need you to take a photo showing that kind of thing. Okay, well, why don't you guys hold hands for this one, whatever. It's so strange to me that there's never a photo of them in one of these rando kind of things where they're facing the camera. You know, it's like the trick or treat from a few years ago when they're walking down the street. And again, it's them just holding hands or whatever. And it's this back shot. I don't understand why it's never a front shot. Do they have front shots at home? That's a side shot. Okay. But then again, you know that they don't want the kids to be seen on camera. So they're like, okay, well, turn the kid the other way, turn the kid the other way. I will say this, that looking at this, and let's not just be, you know, stupid conspiracy people, those pumpkins actually look like the one that Dory was on. So I don't know. It's just, it's just too much. It must be tiring to be Meghan and just constantly like, okay, let's go take photos, let's go take photos, let's go take photos or whatever. And just, it must be so annoying.
If there are children, like I've always said that there is an Archie, but it's like, can you imagine just being able to only go out and do things because your mom needs content for Instagram?
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. That's what she is, you guys. She is a vlogger, like a mommy vlogger, right? The only difference is that so far she doesn't really put the kid's face out there, right? But she's exploiting these photos just like everybody else who's out there on YouTube and stuff and putting up their kids and everything because they're just trolling for content. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's just trying to become, you know, this mommy blogger thing. You know, unfortunately for her, she puts most of the stuff on Instagram where you don't make any money. So
do you still believe that Meghan thinks that she can still get millions for these children if she like does a photo shoot with them? Does she still think that she is Angelina Jolie and that she can get like a $25 million deal for unveiling the children like they did back in the day, which they don't do anymore?
Yeah, I mean, they don't do that anymore. You mean, to put this in perspective, back in the day, they gave like Christina Aguilera like $3 million for, you know, the first photos of her kids or whatever. They would give money to just about anybody. And yeah, I think that if it was back then, that she would be able to, for sure, despite the fact that we all don't like her, she would get $10 or $15 million. But that doesn't exist anymore. There's just, that's, magazines don't have that. If you go on eBay and you buy like a Us Weekly or People magazine from 2006, it's probably like 80 pages long. And if you go get one now, it's probably 20 pages.
Yeah, I agree.
They just don't do it anymore.
You know, this, I don't know, this is all just very weird to me. It's all just very weird. Like the kids never interact with each other. I'm sorry. Like Prince Harry claimed that he wanted to break the genetic pain that his parents caused him and like didn't let him have a life. That's exactly what you're doing to these two alleged children that are yours. And you keep calling them prince and princesses. So why don't you dress them up nicer? But I guess only Meghan can be the star of the show in this family.
You guys, it's so tiring. Here's the other thing. Oh, you know, we've talked about this, but you know, take the kids to school. I do this, I do that. Okay. No, you're not. You know what you're doing is you're just like, here, you know, a bunch of photos and stuff taken. And, you know, and that's the part that gets, you know, going into what we were going to talk about, which we will, but you know, the firing of the people. It is because she's so in control, right? She's just like, no, it needs to be like this. It needs to be like this. It needs, and it just has to be, if you work for her, it has to be the most miserable existence. Just absolutely the most miserable existence, because I think that she thinks she has a vision and she thinks that her vision is the best vision and that the people who do it professionally don't know what they're talking about.
She's definitely a know-it-all. She's definitely thinks she's a know-it-all. But we should get into that about how I feel like bringing the kids out is just trying to get the attention off the fact that, look, they've lost another publicist after only a few months. And that Meghan also, before she always has a drop, she seems to like, oh, look, children, right? But she wants to get the news off of the fact that, oh, look, they've just lost another staff member.
Okay, look at this, the sub headline, right?
Yes.
Where it says Prince Harry, Meghan Markle have lost their 10th publicist. Guys, this is not their 10th employee.
No.
This is their 10th publicist. And that's just in 5 years. So that's 6 months. Well, you know, this one, Emily only lasted 3. But 6 months is like the maximum amount of time that anybody can make it. They just can't. And it just, and this Emily Robinson, a professional through and through, worked for Netflix, did the PR for The Crown, for goodness sake. And so obviously knows exactly what she's doing. You know, she's not going to get a position like that in Netflix without knowing what she's doing. Everybody said, oh my gosh, she's a great employee. She's this, she's that. Okay. And then here she is after 3 months. 3 months. I've had enough. I have had enough. I'm leaving. And I have heard that it was miserable. I've heard that she was bullied. I've heard that she's looking to figure out how she can get out of the NDA. The problem with the NDAs is that it is extremely difficult to get out of them. The only way you can really get out of them is, you know, you go look at talk to a lawyer and see if it's overly broad. Okay, that's one of the ways. If there's something in there that's illegal, but you know, as dumb as Meghan is with trademarks and stuff like that, it's still fairly easy to craft an NDA that is unbreakable unless there's illegal things. Also, what the NDAs do is they force you into arbitration, so you never get to see anything in court. So like Emily, if she wants to take this anywhere, she's going to have to go through arbitration. It's probably not going to get to court. The only way it would get to court is if she was sexually harassed or something like that, where then, you know, you could get outside of the NDA. But again, I don't think that she can. And that's the problem, is then that we don't ever find out anything about the employees unless it's some kind of, you know, source or tip, or she tells somebody and that person tells somebody and it gets out into the media, because it's very rare that we have anybody who gets to speak out. And I think she knows that. But what it doesn't do is it still shows you, oh, it's a miserable place to work. Because how many people will walk away? First, she's quitting a great job at Netflix, right? She's leaving Netflix to go work for Meghan and Harry, thinking it's going to be better. So obviously they're promising her a higher salary. Maybe they're promising stuff. My guess is that they are very slow to pay. I feel like the hours are extremely long, regardless of what Meghan says. Didn't she say something? I don't bother my employees after hours or on weekends or whatever. That's all a lie. Okay. That's just a straight up lie.
Yeah.
You know, she is probably bugging them 24/7. And this whole thing about the whole Paris video Diana cosplay thing, that is what has sent all of this into a spiral. And also, I didn't know that they still had a European communications director. I thought they fired the one person who, you know, was in Europe or whatever, and I can't remember their name. And I thought that they were the only ones, but apparently there was two. I remember, like, Charlie Gibson. Okay. Charlie Gibson was the European communications director. And then he lasted maybe a year. That was the same time that Kyle Boulia or whatever, the LA deputy press secretary, they both left at about the same time. And but they still have Liam McGuire, who's the director of communications in Europe. I was like, why do you? That means at one point they had two people in Europe. Why? Why do you need a European communications director? I don't understand that. And I thought that Meredith said last year or something that I thought she hired a PR firm rather than keep hiring these individuals, because it's way cheaper. And Meghan and Harry don't have the money to keep hiring staff, firing staff, having staff quit, this turnover. And I thought that Meredith had said that she was going to hire a PR firm to do most of it, which is smart, because then you save a whole bunch of money. Obviously, like Sunshine Sachs didn't really work out. And maybe it doesn't work out for Meghan because then she feels like the company's not focusing enough on her. And so she wants people who are just focused on her and don't have other clients.
Yeah, but you can't do that, especially when you're a tyrant like Meghan, who's never on time with payment and things like. It's crazy, because I'm trying to understand now, like, what is Marcus's position? Because she's brought in Marcus to act like her PR agent now too, to help give her advice on how to move, what to do. Like, is she just going back to her Soho House roots again from royalty?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it, right? Marcus has been there, right? He was in Paris. Now he's, doing pumpkins and stuff and everything. Has he just moved in? Is this a permanent cuck situation now, where he's just always there? That to me, maybe Meghan's just like, I'm not going to pretend anymore. I just want Marcus here all the time. Harry, you go sleep out in the guest house. I don't know. It feels like it was kind of because he had kind of disappeared for a little bit, right? And then in Paris, he showed up, and he hadn't really been around very much that we had seen, at least caught on camera and stuff. And now she's including him in the family shots.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is our family. This is the trio that you started with, because
this is our throuple. This is our throuple.
Yeah, this is our polycule. This is our little family here. I mean,
go back to the Harry one. Go back to the Harry one for a second. I just want to see something. Okay, so he did do this from going through the bottom. There is not a cut on the top.
There's nothing at the top. No,
there's nothing.
Nothing. He definitely went in ass first. But doesn't he look like just looking at him from the side, he doesn't look like he's all there. Maybe he's on some kind of substances, or he's drunk or something, because I don't know.
I feel like with his Better Up stuff or whatever, I feel like he's probably on some kind of medication. Mm-hmm. Like pills or whatever, and you combine that with his pot addiction or whatever. I mean, he always seems like he's just low-key stoned all the time.
Yeah, he always looks like he's out of it, like he's on something. He doesn't.
And somebody just said Marcus controls everything. I've had this theory. Whoever said that is that, and it's not to this extreme. Okay, it's not to a Sam Lutfi kind of thing, where Sam Lutfi went in and kind of controlled Britney Spears, tried to do that with Lindsay Lohan, tried to do it with Courtney Love. Not that kind of thing so much, but just is there to kind of like, let's do this, let's do that. And but I don't see what his end game is, because Marcus already has a lot of money. So unless he's in and just says, okay, let's do this, let's figure out a way for you to make money. Maybe Meghan's going to be an investor in like another private club in LA. I mean, those are really, really big things right now. So maybe she wants to do something like that. People who are a big narcissist and want attention, they like to own clubs. Mm-hmm. Because they like to hold court, right? Mm-hmm. They like to decide who can get in and who can't, right? They like to be the arbiters of who's famous. Okay, you can come in, you can't come in, or whatever. So I could see her doing something like that. And that's why Marcus is there. That's the only thing. Maybe he's some kind of business advisor. Maybe she doesn't trust anybody from 2020 beyond, and only likes people from the past, which is why she's reached out to Marcus. I don't understand him being, like I said, like looking here, the family photos or anything like that. And then again, if that's the kid, why is the kid hanging out with Marcus and not watching dad do it?
Yeah, very strange. Very, very strange. It's all weird. It's all weird.
And okay, here's the other thing. Why is Doria by herself? I mean,
everyone's they're just this little bubble that don't talk to anyone else or have anyone else around.
No, and it's not like anybody got up, right? Look, because all the other chairs are pushed toward the table.
Yeah.
So she's just by herself, far away from anybody else.
Sit here, pose for this photo, make it seem like you're doing something, and then fuck off.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
Really, really strange.
The whole thing is strange. But getting back to the topic of their staff, because at least you mentioned that this was only just their 10th publicist. Now we know that they have gone through like multitude of nannies, of chefs, cooks, like you name it, landscapers, you name it, they've gone through it.
Yeah,
something. Go ahead.
No, I mean, and if you think about it, like over the last year, it feels like a lot, because okay, so we've got Charlie Gibson, that was the European guy, that was within the last year. You had Kyle Boulia, that was in the last year. You had Josh Kettler, that was in the last year. You had Ashley Hansen, that was in the last year. Disha Tank from Archwell, that's in the last year. Leanne Cashin, that's within the last year. Trying to think if there's any more from the last year, but I mean, however many I listed, that's 6 or 7 in the last year.
That's ridiculous. That's like
so,
a revolving door.
And some supposedly were fired. I know that like Charlie was fired, and it was because of negative media coverage in the UK. But how is he supposed to control negative media coverage? Right? That's his job, is to go to People magazine and then spin it, or throw in the positive stories. like like this pumpkin patch and all that kind of stuff. That's his job. His job is he can't control what the media reports or wants to speculate. And the other thing is it's much more difficult to control the media because there's very few outlets anymore. Now everything is you talking. Everybody's got a YouTube channel, me talking, all that kind of stuff. You can't control that. So I'm not sure why he was fired. Is it he didn't get enough positive stories in there? The Archewell thing, I understand why these people are getting fired, or because they don't have any money. Archewell has no money, and Meghan doesn't want to pay them out of her pocket or anything like that. And it also shows that within the last year like this, that Netflix stopped paying a lot of the bills. Mm-hmm. Because they're like, okay, if you think about like 7 or 8 people just gone, and that you were paying or somebody was paying, I'm guessing at least $200,000-$300,000 a year, plus the payroll taxes and stuff like that. You're talking $4 or $5 million all in. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, we don't have that money. Netflix isn't paying the bills anymore. All right, you're gone. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. It was the first bloodbath in a while. The last bloodbath we really had was like the 2022, 2023 kind of thing. You had Toya Lee. She was like the press secretary of the Archewell Foundation. You had Catherine St. Laurent. She was the chief executive of Archewell. You had them go. Melissa was earlier. She was like 2018. Who else did we have? Rebecca Sanera. She was the head of audio at Archewell. Well, obviously you don't really need that anymore because Meghan's not doing that kind of stuff. You have Ben Browning, the head of content at Archewell, because all of these were getting paid for by Spotify, I'm guessing. So those people just gone. It's this constant churn. And no matter what company you've ever been, everybody can relate to this. If you go to a company and people are leaving after 3 or 4 months, it's because it's not a good company. Period. 100%. And this is not, working at McDonald's or whatever. These are positions where you're like, I'm really making a decision. Do I want to leave this company where I've got good benefits? I'm making a lot of money. Do I want to go to this shiny little object over here? And, the red flag is that nobody else has lasted. I'm not sure how Meghan is able to convince these people that it's going to be okay. It's probably not Meghan. It's probably Meredith. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. She's not that difficult to work with. She's not that difficult to work with. And at some point, Meredith is going to say, I can't do this anymore. I can't be the go-between.
Let me ask you something, because we noticed that most of these individuals get let go after 3 months. They only last 3 months. Now, is that because then Meghan and Harry, through their Archewell, don't have to pay them benefits or something like that? Like, it just...
I think it's probably a probationary period. That's what my guess is. But the thing is that Emily left. She wasn't fired. She left. So... and I think that to leave a job after 3 months, I mean, just where I can't even comprehend where she gives up probably a job where she was making $200,000-$300,000 a year for Netflix, plus benefits, plus 401k, plus stock options, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what kind of story that Meghan spun to make her want to go there. And the other thing is, when you have these people that are leaving these jobs, again, this is not somebody like a McDonald's or something where all of a sudden they can badmouth McDonald's. Oh, you shouldn't go work at McDonald's, go work at Burger King, whatever. The thing is that these people are in this community that talks a lot, and they're going to say, don't ever go work for Meghan. Don't ever. I can't tell you why. Just don't ever go work for her. There's probably a non-disparagement clause also in the NDA, which means that you can't say anything bad about Meghan. Now, that generally expires at some point. I don't know how long their clause is. You can't have it in perpetuity. So you can't have an NDA that lasts forever. Okay. So at some point, these ones, especially say from 2019, 2020, they must be about to expire. They're generally not longer than 5 years, something like that. And the longer they are, the more that they have to give them when they sign it. I think we've talked about it before. When you sign an NDA, there has to be some kind of consideration given. But when it's an employment kind of thing, it can just be $1, but it's a contract. So there has to be some kind of consideration. So that's what, when you have some kind of celebrity and they make you sign an NDA before you go into a party, those aren't generally valid. Okay, because they're not giving you any kind of consideration. The ones some celebrity has you sign an NDA before you sleep with them, again, probably not valid. Okay. So, but these are valid. But again, I don't know what the expiration date is. So, you know, at some point they're going to expire. At some point, people like Emily are going to say, this is why I quit, because she's the most vile person on earth. She didn't pay me. Payment was late, all of that kind of stuff, because, you know, they've got bills to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And just to quit after 3 months, that just blows my mind.
Publicists, we also got like staff, household staff. Like how many staff do you think they have actually fired since moving to California?
Oh God.
30?
That maybe it's hard to tell with the nannies and all that kind of stuff, because again, they're signing NDAs, they're more scared, right, about trying to violate anything, and you know, because they're just like, oh, you know, they're going to take me to court and stuff like that. I would venture to say it's way more than 30, way more. Mm-hmm. Because if she's tossing aside seasoned professionals like this, think about, oh, do you see that nanny? Oh my gosh, she, you know, forgot to do this, you know, she's fired. We'll just find another one. They're disposable. You know, it wouldn't shock me if she doesn't even know like the staff's names.
Well, she probably doesn't care to know them anyways.
You know, she's probably like, you know, the gardener, you know, the one who always wears the yellow hat. That's what she would probably say.
Yeah.
I don't think that she knows. And we see this all the time. It's like, we're going to use you. We're going to use you. We're going to go use Victoria Jackson's house. We're going to use your plane. We're going to use. I don't want to pay. If somebody's not paying, we're not going to pay. So you're going to have to go.
I just don't understand like how they keep getting away with it. And this isn't just like something that just started with Meghan and Harry. This is literally happened on multiple continents. And also Meghan's had a history of being a bully. Also, there was Jean Malik, who was the director of Reitman's, who basically told us that she is the meanest person he's ever worked with. Sorry, yeah. Monster is sleeping and you can hear him in the background.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, this is what Meghan does. If you think about it, like with Sunshine Sacks.
Yeah.
They stopped repping her because she stopped paying them. Right? So that kind of gives us this, oh, okay, she's not paying this company. Like she wanted them to do it for free. Now, when she was on Suits, she paid them. But when all of a sudden she had the money and she wanted them to do all the stuff, then all of a sudden she didn't want to pay them anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone, we've seen the quotes. Would this happen, you know, when Josh left, because we did this whole round of, you know, the secret interviews and stuff with people. And it was just, everybody's scared of her, right? Because she yells at them, she belittles them, she wants to be in charge. It's the same thing that she did when she first came to the royal family. If you know, I'm sure you've covered it a million times, everything that she did leading up to her wedding, all that kind of stuff, right? That's what she does. She belittles people. She doesn't take advice at all. And the thing is she's not taking advice from the people that she's paying because they know what they're doing. They're both poor decision makers. We've seen that. There's so many things that they could have done. You and I have talked about this before. They could have made that polo show a hit. Okay. Yeah. But they chose to go highbrow when they should have gone lowbrow, because she thinks, oh, well, I'm trying to do a service and I'm trying to show the elites and all. No, you go lowbrow. You hired a company, for God's sake, that, you know, goes lowbrow, and they were probably like, why'd you bring us into this? So they could have made that a hit, but they don't take advice. They don't listen. They think they're okay. Then they change their minds all the time. Oh, well, I want you to do this. Oh, well, I don't know if that's going to work. You know, after the person's probably worked on it for 2 days straight because you called him at 3:00 in the morning. Harry's just a bumbling idiot, right? He just he's an enabler. He just does what, you know, he's told. He just wants to live life in the easiest way possible. And the easiest way is just whatever Meghan wants, Meghan gets. And he's used that quote before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's just like Andrew. He just wants and wants and wants and wants and doesn't want any kind of responsibility or nothing. But
other than the being with underage people, there is not a lot different between Harry and Prince Andrew at all.
No. I mean, I will say that Andrew didn't go and publicly like trash the royal family, but behind the scenes, he did his dirt. He moves behind the scenes, whereas Harry is stupid and he does it all in public for everyone to see.
Correct.
Now, Kit Kat had an interesting question where she asked if, like, all of these employees that have been harassed and fired, could they all get together and file a class action like lawsuit against Meghan together as a group?
It depends, right? Now, here's what you can do. If they weren't paying you, right? If there's some kind of, wage violations or something like that, then yes, you see that all the time. You see that with companies. Especially you see it a lot with restaurant conglomerates, because generally they'll be stealing the tips from employees, or we had this service charge kind of thing. You see that a lot with restaurant employees because they generally do have their money stolen from them by their employers. It is more rare to see it class action anyway with household employees. You will often see somebody, let's say, who's a personal assistant, and they're hired by somebody who's maybe like an A-lister, but they're not really familiar with all the laws. And so they have this person working 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, and no overtime. So those people, they will often sue. But yes, they would be able to, if there's wage and labor and wage violations, they would be able to form a class action and sue. But again, it would have to be something where it is what Harry and Meghan did was illegal. So then that gets you out of the NDA, so you don't have to go to arbitration. Because the courts are very, very adamant. If there's an arbitration provision, that you have to go through arbitration. There's this whole thing with Scientology. They have an arbitration provision, and it has taken all of the Danny Masterson accusers. It took them 5 years, 6 years maybe, before the judge finally said that they didn't have to go through arbitration. But it took them 6 years. And that's not even getting up to the trial part. That's just to take it out of arbitration. Because in arbitration, what happens is they're picking the arbitrator. So it's going to be somebody who they do business with. It is hardly ever you pick one, we pick one. It's never really like that. It is if you have negotiated this arbitration agreement, then yes, you want to have one of your own too. But in this case, it's going to be one of hers. So it's going to be somebody that she knows, somebody that she has business with, somebody that she's given money to, and they're going to be the ones to decide. So of course they're going to come down in her favor. So think about if you are a nanny and you're making $20 an hour or whatever, it seems daunting. And I can't get out of this, can't do this. And the other thing is, if you are a nanny or whatever, and they have you sign the NDA and the arbitration agreement, you're just happy to get a job. And you think it's going to be a great job and everything. And so you just sign it. And, you don't think about trying to negotiate it. With the NDA, they don't have to say, you should go see a lawyer, have them take a look at this. It's not like that. In California with a prenup, you have to be offered to see a lawyer. It can't be the lawyer that drafted it. It can't be the lawyer of your prospective spouse. It has to be somebody else. And you get like a 72-hour window or whatever. You get like 3 or 4 days. You can't just say, here's the prenup, sign it right now. That's not enforceable. So, but with these arbitration and stuff, you're just so happy to just get a job, and you're just signing it. Oh, sign this NDA, just this part of the paperwork. It just says, we have our secrets and we don't want you blabbing them to the world. Just sign that. This arbitration. You might not even know they're signing an arbitration agreement. It could be just buried in the NDA with one paragraph that says, in the event of any disputes, this will be taken to arbitration.
Yeah. They're quite sneaky. So what? There will never be any, any justice for these individuals that worked for Harry and Meghan?
Not unless they've done something that gets them out of the NDA and gets them out of the arbitration. It just, like I said, I mean, it's so difficult because the courts just love arbitration agreements. And the reason they love arbitration agreements is it keeps it out of the court, because judges already are too busy. Right? They already have too many cases. They have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of cases. And then all of a sudden, if they decided to not enforce arbitration provisions, there would be thousands more cases. So as soon as they see an arbitration, they go, keep it in arbitration. Sorry, you're out of luck here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Very interesting. Very interesting. So I'm just trying to understand now that they've lost this another high power name, like this woman worked for Netflix for I think it was 7 or 8 years. So she's not someone that just goes from job to job to job. She's someone that likes to stay somewhere for a long time. But do you feel like they'll get like how do they keep getting these people to come on and work for them when they have this kind of history?
Because I think Meredith convinces them. I think that because she's respected or whatever, so she convinces them, come on. And the reason also she wants somebody else is because she doesn't want to be in the line of fire. So right now, with nobody in that position, Meredith is the one taking all the flack, right? She's the one who's getting yelled at and screamed at. Oh, and how come you didn't keep this out of the press? How come this? And how come there are all these quotes from Emily's friends saying she's a great person, this must have been something truly awful for her to want to quit after 3 months. How come you didn't keep that out of the press? How come you didn't, how come they didn't come to you for a comment? How come, and so that's because, Meghan's got probably 55,000 Google alerts for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And, under any kind of possible combination. And in addition to whatever all the other stuff she does, she's probably doom scrolling constantly looking for mentions of herself. And you've even said that she's visited like your Twitter page, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that she's always just like, oh, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. We got to stop this. But the thing is that she can't do any of the stopping because the only thing that she could ever do is like try and sue somebody. And the only people that she's going to sue are the people like you and everybody else who makes, talks about her all the time. And we would all love nothing more for her to sue us. Right.
Oh, I would. Yes, of course.
Right.
Yes.
Because if she sued us, we would just be like, okay, fantastic. Can't wait for the deposition. Can't wait for the discovery. I'm going to monetize the heck out of all of this stuff, constantly. Mm-hmm. I would love that. This is not like Tasha K and Cardi B where Tasha's like, oh God, I just really screwed up. It's not like that anywhere. But if Meghan sued, oh my gosh, can you imagine like, oh, the joy of the discovery process, I would be talking every day for like 3 hours about what happened that day or what I learned that day, about Meghan. Oh my gosh, you guys, do you know where she, do you know how much money she actually makes? Do you know this? I would be talking about it constantly.
I would be milking it till the cows come home. Trust me.
I would just like every day here's, it would probably, the money would have to go directly to my lawyer, but I would have the best time.
Oh yeah, I would write a book about it. I would just go off. I would totally go off. But did you see, speaking about Meredith, look, she accompanied Meghan because apparently going to Victoria Jackson's bookstore can't just be Meghan showing up there. She had to take Meredith with her. She needed a bodyguard. She needed the driver. She needed the hairstylist to make sure her extensions and her bun were in place. She needed like a whole entourage for Victoria's bookstore.
And meanwhile, the glass of wine, the denim jeans of the other person, they're like, who are all these people?
Yeah.
Just the look on the face. But Meredith, look, that I'm not surprised that she's there, right? It's a public appearance. But this is the other thing, is that now Meredith doesn't have anybody to send, right? So now she has to go to all of these events because there's nobody there. And apparently, I guess they didn't hire any kind of PR firm. So there's Meredith just having to be there. I'm not sure why the stylist is there. I mean, just I guess to make it look like she's more popular than she is. Because what does the stylist need to go to a bookstore event for? You get her, you style the hair, you do the hair, and you send her on her way in the car.
Apparently, Meghan needs to get her bun squished by another woman.
I mean, I see the hand squishing the bun. Yeah. It's like, okay, I don't understand. It's a bookstore. It's a bookstore.
It's a bookstore on Quiet Lily Avenue. Okay, that's where like
a bookstore that forgot to put in a restaurant. A bookstore that you can't even get a cup of coffee at.
No, nothing at all, which is absolutely, I mean, it's a beautiful bookstore. I've been in there. It's gorgeous. But yeah, what's a bookstore without a little coffee station or anything, or get a little glass of bubbly or something while you'll spend more money in there, but who knows? Yeah, it's very odd. It's very odd. Anyways, my dear, we have been talking for about 45 minutes. I just look at the end of the day, I just want these staffers to have some kind of justice for them because we hear all the stories. Like, and if you hear the same story about the same person that there's always bullying going on, then there's got to be truth to it.
Yeah. I mean, look, the people that have come out and spoken, and I think Emily wanted to make clear without actually making it seem like it came from her, because those quotes were ready to go as soon as we knew that Emily was gone. The reason that we knew is because of the fact that somebody said, and they leaked it, look, she's gone, she's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And then they found somebody who knows her, probably somebody that Emily directed them to, who came up with these things and just said for her to. It sounded like bullying. It sounded like bullying, or maybe not getting paid, whatever. It just, the experience must have been miserable. And like you said, she worked at Netflix for whatever, 7-8 years. So she's leaving a job that she worked at for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And then this, wants out after 3 months. 3 months. That to me is just, she got sold a bill of goods and then realized, okay, this is not good. And I can't see, who are they going to hire? So they're going to get we'll probably get some intern. They got a lot of interns because they don't have to pay them. But Meredith's going to have to find somebody. I don't know how she's going to convince them. Maybe she'll lie and say, oh, Emily just, whatever, she was sick, or, wasn't working, or she had, trouble with daycare, whatever. She'll come up with something. But Meredith doesn't want to be working 24/7, because if she can't find anybody, she's going to end up quitting.
Yeah. And well, Meghan, we've seen she doesn't. Why doesn't she find herself a male? No, she had Josh and he was gone.
Yeah.
She doesn't work. Yeah. Omid, he's not doing anything. He's pumping iron and getting his eyebrows done.
No, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to deal with that. He got out.
He's having too much fun with the boys. That's what he's doing.
West Hollywood, baby.
Oh my gosh. Whenever you post his images, I always wonder if him and Meghan get a 2-for-1 deal on their eyebrows. Because
that's the thing. Meghan never goes to any place fun in LA, right? It always seems like it's, it always seems like it's, because I was just thinking about it. She doesn't go to West Hollywood. She doesn't go to the Abbey. She doesn't go to any kind of like super fun place. The only time you ever see her at a fun place is like, say, like a Beyonce concert or whatever, and everybody looks like they're having a miserable time and they're just posing for photos, or they're doing like filming for content, right? And it kind of almost feels like she feels like she's obligated. Oh, I should be at the Beyonce concert or whatever, because you never know. Beyonce could be my friend. Jay-Z could be my friend. I want everybody to think that we're best buddies, kind of thing. But she never does anything fun. She literally doesn't do anything fun.
I think she's just too much of a pain in the ass to deal with. I mean, just remember back when she was in her Suits days, she would just call up restaurants pretending she was a publicist, calling in a reservation for herself under like an unknown name, pretending like nobody knows you, Meghan. Like you can make a reservation or just walk into the restaurant whenever you want. And the same thing we heard about when she would be in LA is that she would call ahead to restaurants or have her staff call in, want like an area booked off for her, would expect the restaurant to comp things for her. I don't know why. I mean, well, she enters the restaurants through the back doors too, and not through the front like a normal person. Like even the regular celebrities go through the front door, but Meghan always has to go through the rear.
Oh, yeah, just like Harry. But if she went through the front door, then restaurants would be more likely to comp her and to take care of the stuff. When you think about celebrity hotspots or whatever, they want that photo. The reason that Craig's became famous after it opened, after the guy left Dantana's, was because the sign says Craig's. And everybody was walking in. And so every single picture, Craig's. It's the same thing. When Rihanna goes to her favorite restaurant and stuff, it's there. It's right there, And that's what the restaurants want. They go, look, all these celebrities, you want to eat here for free? Here, eat for free, George Clooney. I don't care. You brought in 6,000 people. It's like, it's like Guy Fieri came.
Just walk right by the sign and we'll take care of your whole meal. Yes. But no, she always goes through the back door, through like the loading dock where they get like their shipments, where like the staff would go for their smoke break, or I don't get it. It's so twisted. And she's supposed to be, this is her idea of royalty, right? This is her idea of being an American royal, going through back alleys, back doors, and having unclothed, properly clothed children. I don't know what's going on through her head.
I cannot wait until William becomes king, because day one, Sussex titles gone, right?
That hammer comes down.
The Sussex titles will be gone.
Yeah.
And then she can't say to Mindy Kaling, actually, I'm a Sussex. That's what it says on my driver's license, which it doesn't. And it doesn't say it on her passport either. She'll be back to Megan Windsor or whatever.
You remember in when she was having her conversation with Jamie Chang while she was stuffing her face with those hamburgers, Jamie asked her, "What's your legal name?" And she goes, "Meghan, Duchess of Sussex." You idiot. I face palmed so hard.
That is not her legal name. That is not what's on her driver's license. It's not what's on her passport. It is not at all, and it's not. So she can lie as much as she wants, and fine. Let her have her little lie. And when William becomes king and Sussex no longer exists, then what is she going to say?
Mm-hmm. Do you think in a way that's why now she's like heavily using Princess Archie, Prince Lily, and all that, like the titles heavily on everything, because she wants to try and pretend to be the victim? Like when William does become king and take away the title, she'd be like, "You took the titles from our children." Right?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't. I don't know how it works, like taking away the prince title, because like obviously Andrew, not the Duke of York anymore and stuff like that. And William's making sure that his child will not be the Duke of York. You will never have another Duke of York for the rest of time, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he's still Prince Andrew, right? It's kind of like they can't take that away, I guess. So they can take away the Sussex thing. And I'm telling you, day one, William's getting rid of that. But I don't know about the prince or whatever. I can't wait until she can't be called the Duchess of Sussex anymore, can't cosplay as the Duchess of Sussex, whatever. This ridiculous story where she's, that's her that's her name and stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's like Hilaria Baldwin. No, your name's Hillary, So,
oh goodness. Yeah. She doesn't know who she is. She's confused who she is. She doesn't know who she is. 1 minute she's Angelina. 1 minute she's trying to be Catherine. 1 minute she's trying to be Ivanka Trump or Ivana Trump. And then, now she's trying to be a princess. But all she's good at is being a raggedy trollop. But anyways, look, I've had you here for nearly an hour. I think I should let you go because I know you're extremely busy. But thank you for stopping by and giving us some details on the staffers and what's going on.
Always happy to stop by. Always happy to rant about Meghan Markle for an hour because I don't get to do it enough.
Well, you're always welcome here to come and rant whenever you like. So let me know and we will do this again real soon. I think you should let the people know where they should find you, even though I've got all of your information in the description box below, but go on.
crazydaysandnights.net, at Enty Lawyer for most things, patreon.com/Enty Lawyer, and then YouTube is Crazy Days and Nights podcast.
Anyways, thank you, Enty, for joining and for being here and giving us all the details. Oh, one quick thing before you go.
Yes.
Is there any validity to this nonsense about Meghan being a Soho House ambassador?
Oh, God. I can't, now? I mean, she was a Soho House pay for play back in the day. But it goes back to, Marcus or whatever. I really do think that maybe she wants to go this private club route. Yeah. That's something that maybe that interests her. And, Marcus would obviously be the person to do that. Because again, she's going to a lot of these private clubs where there's like San Vicente Bungalows or some others. And Andre Balazs, the guy who owns Chateau, he's trying to make all of his hotels like private kind of club kind of things. So it's the in thing right now. But it takes a lot of money and you need to have the right connections. So Marcus would be the person to do it. The problem is Marcus doesn't have that kind of coin. So where is Marcus going to get the coin? Marcus is going to get it from Ron Burkle. And then that takes you down a whole trail of Ron Burkle and Jeffrey Epstein and stuff like that. And then that takes you up Prince Andrew. Then it begs the question, okay, why does Meghan know Prince Andrew? Did Meghan sleep with Prince Andrew? Then it gets you the question, why is she hanging out with the woman, the last person to talk to Jeffrey Epstein? So yeah, but I think Marcus could only get the money from Burkle.
I think we're going to have you back sooner than later, because I found out some interesting information about Soho House and Ashton Kutcher joining in on their board.
Yes, he's on the board now too.
Yeah, so we definitely need to touch base and talk about that. But thank you again for coming. I think we should end off with this beautiful image of how Harry fists a pumpkin for this holiday season. Oh, that's hilarious. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate you all. Thank you for taking the time. And thank you to everyone who sent a super chat and super sticker. I appreciate you. And an old geezer, thank you for the membership. Happy birthday again to Private Notes. And I will catch you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.